Hello, everyone. This is such a pleasure to be here, not only because I become part of your community by being present, but also by hosting an amazing woman today. My name is Linda Prera. I'm a senior consultant in communication strategy. I have worked with the issue of gender parity for over 35 years. And I'm absolutely obsessed with the equality of opportunities for women and the status of the way that women are viewed both in technology and the world in general. Welcome to our fireside chat. Today we know that women leaders are productive and have an undebatable achievement rate and produce great results. We represent a higher of university graduates. We have access to every sector. We agree and we know that business has no gender. And I do not expect or accept that my daughters will live in a world that has the same challenges that I faced as I grew up. I would refuse to accept this. I will leave the world in a better place than when I arrived in it. So the laws, we know that the laws defend us. We know that the laws mostly around the world, everywhere, protect us. And they accept that we have a major contribution to the world and we should have equal access. So why are we still talking about this issue in the 21st century? Because, of course, reality contradicts the laws. It doesn't matter how many laws we have. There is an inbuilt bias in our world and an inbuilt tendency to not have this intellectual respect for women. However, we do live in a world where technology and the internet have brought us great hope. Digital technology has changed the way many of our lives, our work, our relationships function today. But how is it affecting gender equality? So we know that the way we work, the way we talk to people, the way we interact, technology has even helped the way that violence is viewed. So all of the above are challenges. But technology has given us an opportunity to change the world and to actually reduce gender inequality. So let's talk today in this lovely opportunity to talk about the digital transition and gender perspective, a challenge for the European Union. And what we're going to do is spend 30 minutes with an amazing force of nature called Maria Manuel Leitão Marques. So welcome, Maria Manuel.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for the invitation. It's my pleasure to participate in this Women in Tech. In fact, the two big issues I deal with in the Parliament are the digital and gender equality, and the others in the middle, like the relations with America Latina and with Africa. But it is the main issues I deal with. It's very interesting to cross them and speak about gender balance and women in tech, because the problem is this: we need to prevent a bigger inequality in the future, fighting to attract more girls to technology professions. And this is one of the issues we are discussing in the Parliament. I regret we cannot discuss this in the Emirates because I love to go. I went there frequently to the World Gov Summit, sometimes also to discuss gender equality with the minister responsible for the matter in Dubai and the Emirates government. So it's my pleasure to be here with you. We have common purpose, women in tech, and not only in this in tech, but also to fight against gender inequalities. As you said, it's not only important to have good laws. We used to say saying law in books, sometimes very good. In some countries, we need law in books because we have not look at abortion laws and other ones. but also we need law in action. And the gap between law in books and law in action is very big.
Yeah, absolutely true. And you are a great example of the achievement that women have. You are a professor at Queen's University. Have been a minister, a secretary of state in the European Parliament. You've been in loads of places where women have shown great achievement. And I love to see you. And now that you are a member of the Women's Rights and Gender Equality Committee in FEM, tell me, why are we still talking about gender equality in the 21st century, Maria Noel? Why?
Very important question. Sometimes our right in the parliament asks us, we don't need farm committee, we don't need to discuss the gender, because we have the president of commissioner is a woman, now the head of the central bank is a woman. But look at the numbers, and not only for the good examples. The good examples are very important, and we are going to speak about them maybe later. 7 million women in Europe remain excluded from the labor market compared to 450,000 men. It's a lot of men too, but are 7 million women because unpaid care work in Europe. Women's wages are still 16% lower than men's in Europe. And around the world, men are still 75% of parliamentarians and hold 73% of high-level positions in companies. And in digital sector is where the majority of boards is exclusively male. So I can give you more numbers, and some numbers more impressive, about many women that cannot access education in different countries around the world. And this is a very, 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 very important inequality, and also about the lack of sexual and reproductive rights around the world. But only these three, I think, in Europe, and the first two in Europe, I think, are enough to prove we need to continue to fight.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Our generation has an obligation to make changes. You mentioned the president of the European Commission is a woman, yes, and I think that Ursula von der Leyen has actually shown us that a woman leader who embraces discussion, debate, and consensus is quite important. But she said, gender equality is a core principle of the European Union, but it is not yet a reality in business, in politics, and society as a whole. We can only reach our full potential if all of our talents and our diversity is used. So using only half the population, half the ideas, or half the energy is not good enough. With gender equality strategy, we are pushing for more and faster progress to promote equality between men and women. So this is lovely. It's beautiful. It's a nice thought. Most governments are doing that. I actually live in a country where the government has been working for that. But in your opinion, how can the European Union actually help effectively to close this gap?
Okay, there are a lot of things we need to do, because I told the commissioner, it's very important to have a strategy, but we need some objectives, we need action, we need to fix some results, we need to achieve them in a short period. We need to achieve some results in a short period, some results in a long period, but we need to fix some very concrete goals. If not, it's a very good strategy to study, to the researchers, to show, but no results in 5 years. But the first one is leading by example. And it's very important to have a commissioner for the first time, exclusively dedicated to this to gender equality, because this inequality is not like others. It's not only a social problem. We have so many other social problems, and now
Yes.
with the crisis, some of them worsened. We need it's a different one. When I was in the government, we also support that gender equality is not a matter of the minister responsible for social problems. It's a matter of the presidency, because we need to introduce this objective in all the policies. So it's also important to have for the first time, the president of commissioner is a woman really engaged, Ursula von der Leyen, in this objective. It's very important. And also the board of commission for the first time is of women, of male. It's the first time of 50% parity. This is also important, but I would like to another number. It's also important not forget the parliament. In the parliament, we are for the moment 40%, and the 1979, the first time the parliament was elected directly, women are only 50%. It's good numbers and good progress. And I'm a very positive woman. I would like to stress the good things. But the second way the commissioner is putting forward, and it's very frequent to discussing with Thierry Breton, that is the commissioner responsible by the digital, with Vestager, the vice president, and with other commissioners, is that gender balance is gender mainstreaming policy, which means that gender balance goals are present, must be considered in the design of all the European policies, such as the budget, but not only the budget, such as digital, but not only digital, such as data strategy in order to prevent bias when we build an algorithm, the data sets we consider are not biased, not to forget women, in competition, in structural funds. For example, I have defended the facilitation. It's a concrete action, but it can make the difference. The facilitation of the distribution of European funds, regional funds and social funds, to companies that take into account gender balance criteria. Not eliminate the others, but in certain way favor companies that have gender balance criteria, not only on their boards, but also in salaries they pay in their company. The same for public procurement policies. So these are concrete measures using the power the Commission have in some instruments, some tools to promote gender balance in concrete, in reality. And also recovery plan for Europe must compensate the gender imbalances deepened by the crisis. This is a very important point, because this crisis show us a lot of things that exist before, but now are more visible or are being deepened. Such as the distribution of the work at home. For the first time, men and women are at home. My husband is in this office today, because I'm doing that. I'm speaking from Coimbra this week. But the imbalance in the distribution is very different. Women are doing with children at school, helping them and doing homework more than men. This is one of the effects of the crisis. it's bad and it's good because it's now the reality is more visible,
Yes.
and also it's not only because women normally and we have the numbers in Europe and Latin America too, because women occupy the more precarious jobs in
Yes.
tourism, and now they are more exposed to the economic crisis. That is one aspect of this crisis.
Yes, I quite agree with you. My sector is a great example because in the travel sector, 75% of the sector are women, and at this moment, it is a massive tragedy for families. So, do you I know that if we look at the current presidency of the Council of the European Union, which is held by Portugal, one of the priorities is the social pillar, and I think that the Portuguese government has actually got a very good agenda for the social pillar, and I think this is important, and this should act as a key element for ensuring a fair and equalitarian and inclusive climate and for digital transformation. Do you feel like me that digital technology has changed many things in our lives? It has impacted positively and negatively, but also how is it affecting gender equality, especially now during time of COVID? Because I know that it has greatly impact on the lives of companies and women as well.
Mm-hmm. I think back to the president, it's a good choice, social pillar. It's before the crisis probably, but with the crisis, it remains.
It becomes more important, yes.
More important. United Nations Women revealed that the pandemic will push 47 million more women and girls below the poverty line. It's something we see in Europe and something we see very clear in Latin America. They are fighting a lot. They have been fighting a lot against poverty, and now setback is very. But going to the digital technology and starting by the positive aspects of digital techno during lockdown periods, you are having to shop online, and some people that are not used to doing so now are able to deal with public service online. It's very important because sometimes when I was minister, people told me that no, it's not important to invest in digital services because people are not able to use. It's only for an elite, it's for very smart people because people have no literacy. But we need to give them literacy, and we need to do this investment. Now they recognize that was important to do it because we are prepared with some difficulties, of course, but we are prepared to deliver our public services online. So this is important. This is a very, look at the Parliament, European Parliament. We radically transformed the way we work. The Parliament was Jurassic before.
Yes.
If I can say.
Yes.
To vote, for example, we can vote only in our seat in the plenary room.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
In another city. Only. The bell calls us to vote. We go from our office to our seat and to vote. Sometimes with our hands, other times a little bit electronically, but in our seat. And now in the 2 months, only 2 months, that is for European time, it's a miracle. Now we vote in any place where there is internet. I had voted at the airport, in the taxi, of course, at home, in the garden, and so on. And I see my colleagues sometimes in the car trying to vote with my pen, a special pen to write in my iPad. So it's everything is possible. So we have invented a new way of living, a new way of working, a new way of teaching, a new way of sometimes doing parties and singing. Congratulations.
Yes, 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 yes.
There are a lot of things that are not good, but we can learn from what this way of living, and maybe in the future, changing the design of our houses, the design of our cities, the design of our countries, the relation between country and cities, the public transportation, the time we lose in our public transportation, and we can use to improve our quality of life and, of course, our productivity and our work. So there are good lessons and experience we have learned from the crisis, the way we can use technology to improve our quality of life, not only our professional life, but our personal and cultural and familiar life. Most importantly, we prove that teleworking or remote working is not impossible. Because
Absolutely.
before, when we discussed in public administration, for instance, we can allow teleworking because some men or some women sometimes need to stay at home. It's not possible, dear minister, it's not possible because they need to go. There is a lot of problems. And now is the evidence that is possible. However, there is the other side of the coin that also became evident. It is true that care duties were already overwhelming women, but the situation got worse with the closure of schools, nurseries, and imposition of remote working regime in so many countries. So this imbalance became a bigger problem. And in Europe, again, women spend 13 hours more than men in housework and care duties. So we need to support these problems during the crisis. But as our minister said yesterday, discussing with the social partners, we need special work regimes or paid leaves available for women and men.
Yes.
If not, only women go to stay at home. So 1 week a women, 1 week the men.
Yes, I think our life is going to be radically different forever. You are right.
Do you think so, Linda? I'm not convinced.
I am, Marianelle. I think that it doesn't mean it's going to be better. I think there will be a transition phase of about 5 years. It will take us about 5 years to kind of accommodate to comfort, but it will be radically different. I speak to a lot of women. I'm fortunate that I'm surrounded by women, not only professionally, but in my work for women, but also in my family where women totally dominate. And I have been working remotely because I work with about 143 countries. So I've been working remotely for about 15 years. The technology is better now, but I have always done that. I have meetings with Asia at 6
o'clock. So interesting experience.
I start my day talking to Macau at 6 in the morning, and I finish my day talking to United States at 1 in the morning. So I have had this for a long time. And I, like you, I could not understand why I couldn't do it here in Portugal, or I had to drive 3 hours for a meeting in Porto. I couldn't understand it. Now we are accepting of this. Of course, we work at a different level in leadership, etc. When you come down to the ground floor, you have to understand that the majority of women are there in industry, in services, and we need
domestic work.
We need to change laws. We need to change rules. I have a neighbor with 3 little boys that I sometimes take from her because imagine having 7, 9, and 11 at home all day. So I can understand that we have to adapt our world to the new reality. But we shouldn't do it immediately in 5 seconds. We will transition. But I do believe, because Maria Manuel, today, I can have lunch with my mother in England, my mother-in-law in south of Portugal, and my daughter in Madrid. On Sunday, we have lunch on the computer together. So these things
But it's not the same, Linda. It's not the same to have lunch on the table.
No, you are right. But I would not be able to do it if I couldn't do it.
No, but it's very interesting what you say,
yes.
Because there are in Alfândega da Fé, in the north of the country, there are an experience, social innovation experience before the crisis that is giving the computers to the old people in order to, using Skype or other platform, I probably Skype in that time, in order to allow them to speak to their children, to their grandchildren that are in Lisbon or in Paris or in Luxembourg. It was a very interesting experience to introduce them in the digital world. So look at you can speak and you can see them.
You are so right.
Now it seems Jurassic again, but at that time, that was 3 years ago, it was a very interesting social innovation.
It's wonderful.
Yes, and it's wonderful because we feel closer even to people that are a little bit, there is a lot of things we can discuss, the right to disconnect and how we are going to organize, because now, even in the parliament, it's huge. We have meetings from 8 o'clock to in the morning to 8 p.m. without stopping, because we don't need to the place to go to other room. So it's without stopping.
No, we have to understand that we can't simply transition face to face to online. It's not possible. We have to adapt. And this is very important. It will take us about 5 years, but we'll get there.
Probably faster than 5 years.
Probably faster, yes. I'm being positive. Let's see. So
me too. I'm always positive.
Me too. Well, one of the things that also concerns me is that only 17% of 1.3 million of ICT students in the European Union, women are women. Now, this is very, very important. We have to impact on the way we will live. So we have to understand the things that are happening. And recently a report stated that this number, with several recommendations, needs to revert towards a closing of this digital gender gap. So to ensure women's participation in the digital economy, we have to make changes, okay? So gender equality is achieved also through their access to technology. And there is a report that tells us that gender equality will only be achieved in 65 years. Oh my God, this is unacceptable. So in your opinion, Maria Manuel, who you can influence, what's the most important thing that we should be doing to fight this gap?
There's a lot of things we can and we must do. In my opinion, our first fight is to be at school. And then lifelong training. We need to show girls from very early stage that they can be and do whatever they want. So we need to show them role models as women scientists, women that go to the space, women that are digital leaders in digital world, women that are ballerinas, and so on. I always like to tell a story. We have a program in Portugal that is called Engineers for One Day, in order to show women some role models and attract them to digital digital professions. And I always like to tell a story to illustrate how stereotypes about women's participation in digital economy are reproduced from early stage. I was told that an ICT teacher was very, very, very proud that all his students participate in the construction of a board in his class. And he told the boys programmed and the girls made the clothes of the robots. But all of them participate. And I think we all want to live in a world where girls and boys are able to program, to code, and make its clothes. Why not? It's very interesting. It's a very interesting one. And in my working in the parliament, I have suggested many ideas in order to fighting for this purpose, creating mentoring mechanisms at all levels of education, or showing the social. I think this is a very important point. The social impact of technology, because some girls are convinced that is an issue for the boys, the geeks that like to play and to talk with the computer and not with other girls or boys. And we need to show them that technology can helps on people's quality of life, on health, on social work, and there are a lot of good examples how to do that. Technology is not only code and computers. And I frequently give the example, go to Africa now, of a group of schoolgirls from Kenya named the Restorers. That I met in the parliament before COVID crisis, because they are shortlisted, unfortunately not the winners, but shortlisted in the three projects to receive Sakharov Prize award in 2019. And the girls developed an app called iCut to help other girls to escape female genital mutilation. That is a huge problem in some regions of Africa. Yes. And also a project that I love, that I know with a very powerful woman in tech, Lucy, that is called Miss Geek Africa. Start in Rwanda. It's a small idea start in Rwanda, and it's now part of the Smart Africa agenda. I was member of the jury in 2020. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, the event was postponed. Was in Guinea-Conakry. And Miss Geek Africa is an annual competition encouraging girls to address community challenges through technology. A problem for their community. And so this is a way to attract girls all over the world to tech professions, not only in Europe, not only in North America, but also in South America, Africa, India, and other countries and other regions of the world where inequalities are bigger than in Europe. And finally, we need to show women that it is never too late to reinvent themselves and building a new career. We are discussing a lot, not only about digital education in Europe, but also about upskilling and reskilling of our workers in public and private sector. And we are going to need a lot of people in cybersecurity jobs and digital jobs in the near future, today, in the present and in the near future. And these fundamental training programs to attract specific women in order to accelerate their active inclusion in the digital world.
I think that you're on the right track, yes. Because we have a limited time, I'm going to jump. I had a few other questions, but I'm going to jump them. And I'm going to ask you very, very directly, because I am so obsessed with leaving a new world with all of these things that we've been talking about. So I'm thinking, besides the challenge of digitization, what other challenges, Maria Manuel, do you personally think that the EU should be considering as a priority, because it is time for action.
Yes, I'm going to do it in a nutshell because we have time. So let me start by quoting Hillary Clinton about Peking and the commemoration of 25 years of Peking. It's not enough to have women's rights and laws. We need to have women's in power positions, in political position and also in private position. So we need quotas, because if not, we are going to progress. I'm convinced, but we are going to take a lot of years to achieve good results. We need quotas in political position, and I fought for them, and I'm fighting for them now. And we need quotas in women's on board, at least in listed companies, the biggest ones. I heard a lot of arguments against, but the history gives us evidence that without quotas we don't progress so fast. And with quotas, we do that. We have the example in Portugal. And the arguments against are, you know of them, that there are no women available. And sometimes it's true. I would like to tell you a brief story. When I was minister, sometimes I invite some women to position of direction in public administration. And I heard a lot of times, I would like very much to say, yes, dear minister, but my husband travels a lot and I have small children. The work meetings, they end too late in the evening. I have also my elderly parents I need to visit every day. So I can't accept your invitation now, but maybe in a few years. But maybe in a few years the invitation is not there. So the other point, I fought for codes. I passed the law for political position. It was very difficult. I heard arguments against that there are no women available again for parish, but they organized festivities. They do everything in the parish. So why they are not available to be member of the board? I heard the argument of the merit that courts are going to promote women without merit and sacrifice competent men. And I said, true equality will only be achieved when we have many incompetent women in position of power as incompetent men. As it's American feminists that said that. So we need codes in both, and we are fighting for them because the directive Women on Board is blocked from 7 years ago in the parliament. But also we need work-life balance, because without work-life balance, that is the three lives we have: professional, family, and personal life, cultural life, go with friends, have lunch, go to the cinema, or to have dinner with our friends. Our personal life is very important for women, because sometimes they have no personal life. They have a family life, they have a professional, no personal life. So it's very important. The three lines need to be balanced, and without work-life balance, there are no option for many women. Some women are able to do what we do, what I do now and during my life, but there are other women that are going to be left behind if the work-life balance is not better than today.
Yes, I agree. I also think that the world, in order for someone to have something, someone has to lose something. So, of course, women have to step up. We have to be proactive. And very often, we are also responsible for not taking that step and not being stepping forward and saying and raising our hands, yes, we Maria Manuel, you did not know me, because if I had known you, I would have said yes. So you are a role model. Undoubtedly, you are a role model for women and girls, both here in Portugal, where you are highly respected, but also in the European Union. So, in closing, if what would be your best advice that you would share? Something perhaps that helped your career and that you'd like to share with the women listening. What would you advise and what would you leave us with?
When I was a student in University of Coimbra in law, there are no women as professor, only men. It's not possible for us, girls, when we finish our study in law, to be diplomat, to be judge. It's forbidden, and probably to be professor in the school and so many other positions. But have a dream and never give up. It was
yes,
my dream.
I think that's perfect. That's the great. You have to focus as if there is no other option. Thank you so much for your message. Thank you for being with us here today and giving us so much of your time. From my heart, I thank you for sharing this time with me.
Thank you, Linda. I hope to see you side by side in the parliament when women on board passed the directive in the parliament.
Excellent.
We are fighting during the presidents, Portuguese presidents, but I'm not convinced. But be positive. One day.
Okay, thank you also to the organizers for allowing me to be part of the community here today and for having the honor to speak to this amazing woman, Maria Manuel Leitão Marques. I would like to close by saying that I dream of a world where these issues do not need to be debated, but we women need to be proactive. We cannot accept injustice or unfairness silently. We need to find our voices and speak up. We need to support other women proactively. We need to be less critical of women and less judgmental of each other. This is absolutely fundamental.
Absolutely, it's very important. Support
Yes.
other women and not be critical. Sometimes this is a very huge problem,
Yes.
even in the parliament.
Yes, true. And we must, all of us, ask ourselves every day at the end of the day, what have I done today that makes me feel proud? And when you ask yourself that, ask, what have I done today to help or support another woman? Okay, or encourage her, or thank her, or congratulate her for her achievement.
Or quotes that in our papers.
Absolutely. So, Maria Manuel, thank you very much. And I wish everyone, you above all, great personal and professional success. Thank you all.
Thank you.